In this video, we're going to tackle the most commonly asked question: can you build muscle at maintenance calories? So stay tuned. What is going on, guys, and welcome back to yet another video. This video was a long time coming. I've had quite a few questions asking me, well, quite a few people, even not questions, don't ask you, people asking me, what my macro split looks like.
Popular at school, way.
How many calories I'm eating, and my short answer is not as much as I used to. Let's get into that a bit later on, but first, basic understanding, which most people understand: you need a surplus to gain weight and you need a deficit to lose weight. The main thing to remember here is nutrition is the facilitator for growth, and it's not the stimulus. The stimulus is the stress placed upon your body from doing the resistance training. So eating more on its own is not going to help you build muscle. On its own, that is, without resistance training in place. And then we have a scenario where you eat too much, you keep going in that 500 calorie surplus like I did initially and put on a lot of fat. It's inevitable that you're going to put on fat when you're bulking, but you want to minimize that fat gain. Well, I should hope so. That's probably why you're here. You want to lean bulk as much as possible while minimizing the fat gain. There are reasons for that. I will touch on that very, very shortly. But in essence, what we've got to think about is we're not always in a deficit and we're not always in a surplus. We are flicking between the two all throughout the day. It's not a light switch where we turn on and we're like, oh yeah, surplus all day today, surplus all month, surplus all year. No. If we're eating too much at that moment in time, too much compared to what our body actually needs, we're in a surplus. If we're eating too little, we're going through periods of fasting, we're in a deficit. So you actually go through deficit and surplus multiple times a day, multiple times a month, multiple times a week. It's the sum of all parts which equals whether you gain weight or lose weight. So if most of the day you're in a surplus and you end up in a surplus, then you're in a surplus. If it flickers between the two and you actually end up in a deficit, then you're in a deficit. It's quite simple in that respect, but I just want to say it's not a light switch. It's not something you just go bang, surplus, bang, deficit. You go through both of them every single day. Well, unless you're just eating all day, and then you wouldn't be here as well if you were. So before I present you with two practical examples, I just want to say that you get energy from two sources. You get it from your stored body fat or stored energy sources, stored glycogen. It can be whatever, body fat, glycogen, doesn't matter. You get it from stored forms, and you also get it from food. So let's take two scenarios. First of all, you have a guy, girl, whatever, below 10% body fat, let's say, for argument's sake. Limited stored fat and limited stored fuel in general. So that person's on maintenance. That person is going to get to a point where they're going to struggle to get enough energy from their stores and food combined to actually allocate it towards muscle building. Then you have the next person who's 15% plus body fat. Just for argument's sake, 15 is not a hell of a lot, but it's enough to use for fuel, if you know what I mean, especially compared to when someone that's sub 10% body fat. So that person is gonna have way more stored fuel. That stored fuel will be combined with the calories, let's say, from maintenance, even sometimes a deficit, and can be used to fuel the body. And not only that, it can be used for muscle gain. So in short, my answer is yes, you can build muscle at maintenance.
Oh, yes.
So in the name of science, I don't want to keep rambling and then you think, hey, this guy's just talking anecdotal, talking about himself. No. From the Frontiers in Nutrition, this review article, which was published in the 2019, the 20th of 2019, I'll put the full review article in the description, but it is about energy surplus and whether it's required for maximal skeletal muscle hypertrophy. So it's quite a long article, but I want to get to the main point. Basically, remember, nothing's conclusive. There's a million ways to, I hate to say this saying, but to skin a cat. But the presence of muscle hypertrophy in response to resistance training while in an energy deficit, basically calorie deficit, clearly confirms the energy cost of hypertrophy can be obtained endogenously, so basically from the body rather than relying on exogenous food sources. So rather than relying on basically an energy surplus in order to build muscle. It's actually been quite well researched, and this is extremely anecdotal, but during lockdown, I've actually managed to pack on 5 kilos of muscle. Well, I think it's more muscle. I haven't done any DEXA scan or anything like that, but I've took measurements. My waist hasn't increased in size. I visually don't look chubbier.
Is that what you think?
I don't look like I put on fat. I look equally as ripped, if not more ripped, and that is what I've experienced, and that's been at maintenance. I took my calories back. They were in a surplus before lockdown, and now they're down to maintenance as well. So anecdotal, but I've heard a lot of people say it, and to be fair, my case is a bit different. I'm recomping. I was 110 kilos at one point. If you follow me on Instagram, quick plug, Adam Scott Fit. Anyway, if you follow me there, you will see that I actually was 110 kilos at one point. I wasn't super lean, but I was still 110 kilos at one point. So you could look at it as a recomp because of my injury getting better. But nonetheless, I've managed to pack on 5 kilos at maintenance in the space of like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So let's not get it twisted for a second. If you're in a calorie surplus, you are going to build muscle faster, but you're also going to add fat. If you don't mind adding that bit of fat while being in the surplus and getting faster results essentially, then go ahead and do it. But do it very slowly. Don't follow that 500 calories a day protocol. What I suggest is working out your maintenance, I'll go into that in a second, and then adding 100 calories to your maintenance per day, and do that for a week, do that for 2 weeks, see how your body responds. Then if it's not responding, as in you're not gaining weight, then add 50 calories a day, that is. Then add 50, then add 50, until you still wanna keep it under 500. You'll probably find your range is somewhere between 100 and about 300 calories in the surplus, if you're not gaining weight at maintenance, or if you don't mind gaining a bit of extra fat, or if you wanna gain muscle a bit faster. Let's do kind of like a little scenario. So if you're a newbie, this is your first year of training, you're probably going to gain anywhere between 2 to 3 pounds a month for the first year. After that, half it for every year that goes by, every year of training and proper strict nutrition. So half it for every year that goes on. So say if you've been 3 years, you take the first, take 2 to 3 pounds, half that and half that again. My maths isn't that great on the spot right now, so sorry. And if you want to work out your maintenance, what you do is you times your body weight in pounds by somewhere between 14 and 16, depending on your activity level, and that's how you work out your maintenance. And from there, you can decide whether to add or keep it at maintenance. I actually put most of my clients on maintenance when they want to count calories. By the way, again, I'm not suggesting you have to count calories. If you want to count calories and know where you're at, then do it, even if you'll do it for a few weeks and want to see how you respond to it, and then don't do it after that, that's completely fine. You do not need to count your calories to see results. You just need to pay attention to the scale, measurements, look at processes where you can track yourself and see how your body's responding, how you're gaining, and what type of weight you're gaining as well. We don't have access to like DEXA scans, like body fat measures are accurate by any means. Even those electronic ones you have at home you step on, they're highly inaccurate. I wouldn't suggest getting them. Just take measurements and also take your weight and look at yourself in the mirror. Take pictures. Anyway, like I said, you can build muscle in maintenance. And if you've been in a surplus and you've seen poor results in terms of you're not looking the way you want to look, strip it back down to maintenance and work your way back up. Or maybe stay maintenance. I've stayed in maintenance for just over 6 weeks now. I've seen great results, but that's me. We are all different. And I know you hate hearing that, but it is true. You have to find out what works for you. And the only way to actually find out what works for you is to test it and keep testing it and keep testing it. Then again, keep testing it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up. Even if you hated it, give it a massive thumbs up. If you have any comments or disagreements, drop them below. I'm open to debate. I'm open to people who like my videos as well. And also be sure to share this with anyone you feel might find it interesting, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. Sign up to the notifications by hitting that bell and selecting all. And follow me on Instagram, that's at Adam Scott Fit. Until the next video, keep pushing those limits.